Peace, peace. This your host, Selah Shalom. And this is the Cosmon teachings in the words of Jehovah and his angel ambassadors from the Cosmon Bible Owaspi. And the topic of discussion today is going to be called the Dietary Laws. It is about the purity and impurity of the flesh and spirit. The Creator from the beginning told man not to eat the living animals or anything that breathes the breath of life. He gave the herbs, fruits, and grains for us to eat, and by eating in such a way, man can remain pure to the Creator and hear his voice. But by man eating meat, he has disconnected himself from the Creator by breaking that law of not eating meat. The dietary law was the first law given to humans before any other laws, because an infant child that cannot talk do not know about any commandments or any laws, but must feed on food first. And if you are not giving the infant child the right foods, the impurity process starts from that point. And if you are giving the infant child the right foods, the process of purity starts at that point. Now I'm going to go into the King James Bible to prove this dietary law first before I go into the Owaspi. Now, in the King James Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 29, it states, "And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." So here God makes it clear that meat is herbs and fruits. So when God referred to meat, he's talking about it in this sense, not as meat from an animal, because this would go against the command of killing his living creatures. And the more proof of this, in Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 12, it states, "And by the rivers upon the banks thereof, on this side and on that side shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months. Because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaves thereof for medicine." So in this verse, it states that meat is fruits and the leaves are for medicine. So the Most High is making it clear what his definition of what is meat, which is the herbs and fruits. So now I'm going to go into the Cosmon Bible Owaspi and see what it has to say about the dietary law. Now, in the book of Esdras, chapter 27, verse 1 and 2, it states, "Purification is the first law I give unto you, and is the same as with the ancients, in which ye shall not eat the flesh of any creature that breathes the breath of life, nor of fish that lives in the water, nor under the water." So here it states that the first law is purification, and this purification deals with keeping the body clean, because if the body is impure, then the spirit within the body is impure as well. So the first law is to keep the body pure and clean. And in the book of Judgment, chapter 18, verse 11, it states, "Verily I say unto you, ye have not fulfilled the first law, which is to make clean your own corporeal bodies. Because ye have stuffed yourself with carnal food, my holy angels cannot approach you, neither can your understanding approach the place of my kingdom." So here's another verse stating that the first law is purifying one's body. And it also stated that if the body is impure, that the holy angels cannot approach you if you are impure in the body. So when people talk about they have the Holy Spirit and are feasting on meat, you will know that that person haven't learned the first law, which is to purify one's body, and that the Holy Spirit only comes to the pure in spirit, not to those who are impure. So if somebody is talking about they have the Holy Spirit and they feast on flesh, pork, beef, chicken, and you will know of a truth that that person is lying, because God doesn't work in that manner, and that they are inspired by an impure angel and not the angels of the Most High. Now in the book of the Ark of Bond, chapter 25, verse 19, it states, "Above all things thou shalt teach them to keep holy and pure the bodies created withal. For herein lies health and strength, To be foul is to be sick is to be foul. Behold the heathen and the idolite and the adulterers, the feeders on flesh and blood. In the time they boast of health, they stink as a carcass. Their flesh is congested and puffed up, their breath like a kennel of dogs. How can their souls be pure or their understanding clear? They have made themselves a feastering stink house for the spirit to dwell in. So here it states that above all things, you should keep the body clean, meaning not consuming the flesh of an animal. Then it states how people talk about being healthy when they eat the flesh of a dead animal. How can one talk about being healthy and spiritual when they have not learned to purify the body, which in return purifies the spirit? And in the book of Jehovah, chapter 4, verse 11, it states, according to the condition of these different plateaus and atmospheria, whether they be near the earth or high above, so shall the spirit of man take its place in the first heaven. According to his diet and desire and behavior, so shall he dwell in spirit on the plateaus to which he hath adapted himself during his earth life. So here it states that according to your diet, you will be placed after death in the impure or pure plateaus in the heavens or atmospheria. So being saved in the name of your Lord ain't going to get you into God's kingdom, but by keeping the body pure from meat eating, because the spirit is placed in the body. And if the body is impure, then the spirit is impure. and it's as simple as that. It's not complicated. Now in the book of Sentences, son of Jehovah, chapter 3, verse 27, it states, Jehovah said, from the trees, fruits, flowers, grains, and seeds, and roots that grow in the ground have I created a ceaseless harvest going upward into the atmosphere, which shall be the sustenance for the spirits of men and women newborn in heaven. But whosoever feast on flesh on earth shall not find spiritual food in heaven, but he shall return to the butchers and eating houses where flesh is eaten, and he shall feast on the atmospherian parts thereof before it is rotten. So here Jehovah states that fruits, flowers, grains, seeds, and roots, all natural herbs, are evaporated into the atmosphere, and this is the food for the newborn spirits in heaven. And Jehovah said, he who feasts on flesh shall not find spiritual food in heaven. So if you are not making an effort to cut back on the flesh foods, when you die, your spirit will remain on earth until you learn to purify your own selves. Not even Jesus or Muhammad or Buddha can save you. Only you can save you. But if you feast on flesh your whole life, your spirit will not rise into the pure kingdoms in the heavens, which has been prepared for you. But you will remain on the earth until you learn to rise above the impure conditions. So even when we die, we are still responsible for our spirit being pure or impure. And in the book of Sentences, son of Jehovah, chapter 3, verse 21, it states, and as ye do by these sayings, or newborn spirits, do ye also after time to others. Remember that what men subsist on in the corporeal life is entailed on them in the spirit for a space of time after entering atmospheria, or heaven. And of like substance shall they be fed spiritually. So here it proves that what you eat in your physical life will follow you in the spiritual life for a space of time. Just as you have a filthy and impure people, so do you have filthy and impure angels. And these humans and angels are those who have not learned to resurrect their own selves above the carnivorous diet or behavior. And in the book of Judgment, chapter 13, verse 24, it states, O that thou had not contaminated thy corporeal part by the flesh of the beast and the meat of his living creatures. This is one of the stones that covers up thy soul and blocks the way to the upper grades. So here it states that it is the contamination of the flesh that humans are not able